Hello everyone, it is Christine here and I'm excited to be back with a new project for Christmas. I love the lead up to Christmas and making things in slow stitch style, and I'm especially excited about this project because it's being hosted by my dear friend Sally over at Dotty B here on YouTube, and it is a Christmas Advent calendar stitchery project. And Sally is wonderful in her project. She allows us to take the idea and use it in whatever way we would like to do. It's very free and free form, which is just how I like it. And I've decided for mine to do a Advent style calendar in the form of bunting, with each bunting taking the form of a little present. Now, Sally, when you watch her video, she talks about how she's going to be doing a scroll. So I thought it would be fun to do something that is going to follow along with all of Sally's prompts, but just be in a different format, because I know sometimes people might not have the sort of the wooden bobbins to put a scroll onto. They might want to create something a bit different. I particularly love having something I can hang up because we do have all the family over for Christmas each year, and it's lovely to have the house decorated with hand-stitched pieces. So I think the bunting is going to be fabulous. I'll show you in another video when I look at out my other slow stitch pieces that I've made in previous years for Christmas, and I usually just put those up with those little sort of wooden pegs on a like a festive string and have those up on display. But it will be wonderful to add this advent calendar to that. So be sure to watch the introductory video that Sally has put out, which I think just went up last night our time here in Australia, but Sally's in the United Kingdom. And Sally will explain it all and talk through some of the materials that you can collect up. I'll also be showing you this in this video, just a small amount of the materials and how you can make use of really small scrappy pieces, or pieces that you might otherwise not be inclined to keep, but they work really well for little scrappy backgrounds. So I'll be talking you through in this video how I've put together my prototype piece, which is basically just the piece that we'll be adding the stitching to when Sally starts to release the prompts. But I wanted to work out the prototype because I find I'm someone that better sort of navigates the process of creating. I kind of need to start it and I need to work out the engineering, if you call it that, the how it's all going to work as I kind of put it together. So I thought it'd be easier for me to show you that than me trying to describe it to you. So here is one of the pieces. So the aim is that it will hang up, and I'm planning to use some of my Nana's rickrack. I've still got a decent amount on the roll, and this is the same Nana's rickrack that travelled around the world as part of Nana's travelling rickrack. I'll be putting together my compilation video of that soon. I might sort of do that into December, January. So if you did take part and you want to send me a photo or photos of your creations and you haven't already, or haven't posted it in the Facebook group or our community tab, then yeah, that would be wonderful if you would send those through. But yeah, I think it'll make a really lovely festive hanging material. So each of my pieces will have a sort of a sleeve, and I think I'll probably use this same lace that I've used up here. It's just a cotton lace, and as you can see, I've got a good quantity of it. And for the purpose of this, I've just stitched that onto the back of the piece and then folded that over to create a little sleeve that I can thread, in this case, the rickrack through. Then on the front, I've made it look like a little present. I've put one of my very special glass buttons up the top, and this little vintage bell. I can't even remember where I got these from. I might have got them from an Embroiderers Guild D-stash. So as well as these ones, I've got some newer little bells as well. So I thought I'd use a bell of some sort on each of them, and also one of my beautiful glass buttons. I'll try and remember to show you, and we'll pick out a glass button, in fact, for the next piece that we'll start to make in this episode. It's a great way to use some whole doilies as well. So I'm kind of creating a little present component on the front. I've still got pins here because I'm not going to stitch it entirely together yet until I've done the stitching. I'll explain in a moment why. And then I've got the bell attached to this piece with a piece of string. And what that means is that I can open up my advent, and then this is where I'll have the stitching, and I've created a slow stitch background here. And the idea is that, let me just take the pins out so I can show you. Just put those in the pin cushion so we don't lose them. So I'm creating it as two separate pieces, an inner piece on the calico and then an outer piece on this. It's actually an old sheeting, so it's beautiful and soft, but I thought the green with the slightly sort of reddy pinky colour and the greens in the middle would make a lovely sort of festive without being over the top, a sort of a softer festive. And so yeah, each piece is like that, and then as I mentioned, I used the lace and flipped it over so that it would form a sleeve at the top. And then yeah, this piece that folds up, I've just added a doily and just brought it over to the back side, and that's how I'm decorating it, and then decorated it with a ribbon and done some stitching in the middle and put a little pretend bow on. Just basically did a stitching across there and then made a bow and stitched that down. And the great thing is, by having the two separate pieces, so if I'm doing the stitching of the prompts, I'll be doing that on the inside. At the end, I'll be able to add the outer piece on, and you won't see the stitching coming through from the inside to this side, or indeed to the back, in case I have it hanging up in front of a window. Not that it matters really if people see the back sides of my work. I've never really been worried about that, but I just thought it will give a nice finishing. So that is the piece. And what I thought we would do is have a look through some of the materials I've picked out, start to pick some out, and we can start to create another inner page. So I'm going for quite neutral inner pages because I want to be able to then add colour and life and movement with what I add to the pages in terms of stitching and fabric collage. So this is really just the backgrounds that we're creating at the moment. And one of the things as I went through my Christmas box that I'm quite excited to see if I can use in this project is this beautiful fabric. It's called One Sunny Day by Hannah Dale of Rendale Designs from Maywood Studio. And I got it a few years back, and it's a soft fabric, but it doesn't seem to sort of fray, which is really good. And it's got all these incredibly beautiful little animal things. Look at this robin Christmas tree. Isn't that just beautiful? Don't even know if that would even fit on here. I probably should have looked at that, but I might even use that for something else. Might just fit. Yep, it would just fit within here. I'd probably have to go right up to the top. Let me just move that out of the way for a seckie. Show you some of the others. Little robin on a letterbox, mice on the cheese, little rabbits, another little mouse. Looks like a little hedgehog or porcupine with the drink. Beautiful deers, rabbit. Another little, porcupine, squirrels over here. So yeah, I thought this would be lovely to be able to add some of these elements because I've been hoarding it, touching it all the time, and it would just be, really wonderful to be able to sort of enjoy that in these pieces. It will depend a bit on the themes, but Sally has been crowdsourcing the prompt ideas from her followers on her Facebook group. So she's probably grouped some of them up, but I imagine there'll be common things like Christmas tree. There might be one around foods, etc., from what she was saying in her most recent video on this topic. So let's have a look through some of the supplies. So the first thing I've done is I've worked out the size that I want for my piece, and I just folded myself a piece of paper that was my sort of template, worked out how I wanted it to fold up, and then with that template I tore myself a strip of calico. Generally, if you tear something like calico or lots of other fabrics along the grain, you'll get straight edges both sides and you'll get an even piece. And then that way you're not trying to tear individual pieces and make them all even. All I now need to do is to then tear it to the length that I want it as I need it. I'm also using this old sheeting, as I mentioned, beautiful soft cotton sheet, and I can use that as my template just to tear a piece of the calico. And that way I can kind of have all my pieces bulk prepared, which will mean that I can just be a little bit ahead of the game, because I know things get busy in the lead up to Christmas. So that's the two pieces that we'll be able to use. And that will be our base piece of calico. Let's just do a measurement and make sure that we've not gone at all skewy. So yeah, basically our calico piece goes up to, sorry, I'll just move it down so you can see, goes up to there, and then adding the lace on top of that. Oh, and as you can see, I don't even worry if I've got little stains. So I have a little stain there. There's a little stain here. I think it all just adds to the charm and gives it that really vintage look. So base piece, I probably could have ironed that slightly better, but it's, yeah, sitting straight enough. Now, what I like to use in these types of pieces is sometimes you get things like curtain material, and they might not be something that you use in your regular slow stitching, but they are great to have in your stash because they can create just a really lovely, interesting background. Let's just make sure we're in focus. So let's just take a piece of this off to show you the theory. And who knows, we might even end up using this on this piece because it is rather lovely. So yeah, I'll probably take the base hemi bit off, although it started tearing, so we'll just need to probably cut it rather than tear it. And my good scissors. I just cut it. We need to just unravel it a bit more so it's not all tied up. Move that bit out of the way. Try and cut straight would be good. Sometimes it's hard. So I'll just cut myself a piece maybe like that for now. It doesn't matter if it's a bit bigger. It's always hard cutting on camera because they're just sort of cutting at a strange angle. Let's go a little bit higher. But yeah, you can find this in op shops, or even sometimes, yeah, people might be just, yeah, getting rid of old curtains, but it does create a lovely little layering base. I'll just pop that down there so it's out of the way. And so you could just do it on a section of it, or you could put it, sometimes you need to work out which is the front or back, if it does have a front or a back. I think that is the front. Well, it's almost exactly the right height. So I think on this one I will just start with it being the full size of the piece, although you could just use a portion thereof. But I may as well, seeing it's sort of a nice-ish fit. I'll just trim the top a smidge, not that it matters really if it's a little bit over or under. Put that piece with my other supplies. So I've got other ones like that, like this one here. I've got this one, I think, which was the one that I've already taken the section that I used on this one, which has lovely berries and things. I'm not sure how well you can see that. So that one, and then I've got another one here, this one here, which is a sort of floral flower one. So yeah, would definitely use that on one of them. And another one here that's rather lovely as well. So some of them feel like, because they kind of catch a little bit on the fingers, they've probably got a little bit of, they're not pure cotton. But again, something like that could be really lovely, or indeed for a Christmas tree like one, something like this could be super as well, because it's almost conjuring Christmas trees. Or you could even just have that along the base. That would even make a great Christmas tree for one of the pieces. But for this one, let's go with what we picked out first, because there's no right or wrong. It's really just about layering up. And I might grab just put a needle, not a needle, a pin. Use my favourite little, if I have to use pins, I'd much rather use these little applique pins, although generally I try and avoid. So then let's just go through some of my other bits and pieces. So you might have pieces of fabric. I'm going to try and keep the background quite neutral, so I'm not going to use anything too brightly coloured. Another thing you might have if you've been harvesting from doilies, where you might have taken a piece of applique off, you might have some lovely edging bordery pieces, and that can be quite nice to add. So let's just tear a strip of that. We won't need the whole strip, but you might want to just take a section thereof. You might not even want that whole piece. Put that in my little scrap basket over there. And it's good to kind of pull some of the fringy bits off. You might want to put something like that. So that's an example of using scraps. You might have some little elements from a doily or something that you've cut up before. You might have already had holes in it, but you can definitely harvest some more pieces from these sorts of things. And it doesn't even matter the little sort of like jaggedy edges. You can just put stitches over them, and I think it just helps to kind of make it look like it's emerging from the page. This is a tiny fragment. Let's just get rid of the stringy bit. I'll put that one down. So I do have some bigger pieces of this. That would be the wrong side of it. But yeah, you can even bring something out from that. I quite like that. So we'll grab another pin, pop these ones down in situ. Get that one in there. One. Do we want it that one that way, or do we want it this way? What do we think? No, I think I like it on the other side. So we can pin our little flower down with that one and pop this one up here. So yeah, I do find doing this very relaxing, and if you get all your bits and pieces sort of together, then you can really kind of do a mass making. You can even pin a whole of them at once. That's that same border sort of fabric. This is just like a little grey, but I feel like I'm going for slightly warmer tones here, so I won't use that. I think that was just like from a little hanky. This is a bit of, that's another bit that from before when I had that, so I won't need that one. But maybe a little bit of Battenberg lace. Guess I've got to think about how much area I'm leaving myself to be able to work into, but that could definitely work up the top there. Let's see. Generally with the lace it won't tear across that, so you'll need to sort of cut across. Hopefully not too crookedly. Which way is that meant to go? Does that have a front or a back? I don't think so. I think that can go that way. And always keep a little thread caddy near you, because as you get all these little loose threads, it's good to have a little place. I have a little thread caddy here. I keep some of my little wooden pegs and some of my ties. I've just been tidying up my craft room, and so everything's getting its place, which is good. It's a good feeling. Although I must admit that I pulled out all my supplies for this project, so I'm not sure how well I go with having everything in its place. So I might just trim the top of that down when I'm done. I don't think I did cut the lacy bit, the Battenberg lacy bit that well. So I can just give that a bit of a trim off now. And likewise, just a little trim down here. Everything will move a bit anyway. When you stitch, things invariably sort of move a bit in as well, but it's all going to be fine in the end. So I like that that's like a little sun. So that's another bit of that Battenberg lace. That's some more of the edging that we've added a little bit down here, whether we would want to add, but I think I'll try and do something a bit different. So again, just kept these edging pieces from when I've been cutting up doilies. As you can see, it had some staining. That's just a small bit of lace. That's a little fabric sample. Just pulled out some neutral coloured fabrics as well. So that's like a motley fabric. This is some of that same lace that even has a little stain on it, or what's it called? Oh, the words just escaped my head. Broderie anglais, not broderie anglais, broderie anglais. Christine. That was a very Aussie way of saying it just before. And so this is another edge piece from a doily. It looks like it's one that's got maybe some little rust marks. So again, you can just have a think about what do you want? What do you want to be able to see on the piece? Might just take that pin out and just slightly slide this little piece that you probably can't quite see because I'm going slightly off camera. Slide that under there. We'll just see if we are in camera, we're in lens. That's another little edging piece if you wanted it, but I probably won't use that on this one. Another bit of edging with another little stain. So again, keep all those pieces. You just never know when you're going to want them. This one I'll probably use a bit like I've used that one on something, and just use the lovely corner piece, but it's also got beautiful edging on it too. That's another one of the little sort of wafty hankies. This one's off a little matte, but I'd probably use that on a more warmy goldy piece. Another bit of the Battenberg. And then here we've got two lovely mats, or parts there of a mat. I don't think I need any more of the embroidered pieces, but you can use something like that, sort of either fussy cut out of it or take a section of it. But also the lace is really, really beautiful on this, so that will be lovely to use on some. I've also looked myself out a pile of both small little doily pieces, either individual doilies or cut up bits of doily, so they'll be great to use like I've used this element there. And then I've kept myself some of these doilies, which I will use on the outside, like on my prototype piece for the outside of the present. So I'm wanting ones that are about the size that fits with this particular fabric. So for this piece that we're going to make next, I might use, for example, one like this could be lovely, because I think it goes quite well actually with the interior piece. So I'll pop those to the side. But yeah, I'm sure many of us have lots of this. You can tend to find these sorts of doilies at op shops still quite readily, just the regular plain ones. So yeah, if you've got them, they're a lovely way that you can add them to this piece. But yeah, I think that will go nicely with the sort of the floral design. I think that will integrate in well. Then I've got looked myself out a range of nice laces, so you could add portions again of regular, well not regular laces, but laces. Laces of all different colours. I might even put this one in. It's going to add a bit of nice gold to the piece. What do you think? Although it's kind of competing a bit with that, so we might save that for another one. I've got this one that's quite a bold, almost like a wave. And then I've got this one, which I can trim down a bit also. I've got some little leftover bits from when I've been cutting out pieces, so you can always keep those and use those. And then I've got some other beautiful laces, but again I'll probably want to leave that area as my stitching area, so I think it's probably enough to kind of have those corners. I'm not thinking I necessarily need to add too much else. This was some straps off a pair of sort of overalls, but again playing in these sorts of neutral colours. Other laces like this, or sort of this type of a lace will be really lovely. Even some of the ones that are like synthetic laces, again they can just be a nice way to add some additional texture. Then you can also think about fabrics, so in sort of neutral tones. That one I wouldn't use the red yet because I'd want to know what my design is, but I've just looked out some neutral tone. Again, that's a red stripe that I'd use probably later in the project. That's probably a bit too dark. That's got some other tones. Some of these I might make some Suffolk puffs out of. They are more sort of thin fabrics, but I think they could make some fun Suffolk puffs, including some of these goldy shimmery ones. Got a few other shimmery sort of goldy ones. And so yeah, Suffolk puffs or yo-yos, which are just like, I've made myself a couple already in Christmassy colours. So I've got various Suffolk puff sized makers, and they can be a lovely little thing to add later on to bring in some of the other colours from your piece. So it's probably a good idea now to also think about making some Suffolk puffs. And I'll also for this piece need to decide what I'm going to use for the braid for the outside. So let's just have a look. So if I'm going to use this little, which way does this one go? This one goes this way, I think. And remember that we're going to be having it like that. Let's take our little thready bits off. And with the side bits, I can either overlap, because I don't want to cut into these doilies. So what I'll probably do is overlap them into the inside of the piece. You could bring them over into your other piece. Let me just show you what I mean by that. When you're putting it all together, you could leave it just sort of sitting out at this stage, and then when you finish, you could bring it over like that. But I just think that's going to be a bit too much, so I'll probably, because I'll be working on the pieces separately, I'll just bring it over in the middle like this. And let me get rid of those thready bits. So we then need to pick out a braid to use. So I was thinking, is that too heavy, or do I want to use, I think this is something that Sally sent to me actually, this lovely trim, so it'd be lovely to use that. I think Christy brought it back with her from the UK after visiting with Sally, which was so lovely that the two of them got to catch up, and so lovely this year that I got to catch up with Christy in Western Australia as well. So that could be quite nice. So again, look out your braids, your ribbons, your sort of rickracks, various things that you might have that you want to use. I've also got a red rickrack. Might use the red rickrack. I think it's just a bit sort of a bit lighter on this really lovely lace. So yeah, might use the red rickrack, I think. So I can cut myself a piece like that, and then I just need a piece. It's probably a good idea to overlap them so you're not having to stitch down the ends of them and having sort of frayed ends. So probably good to leave a little bit of stuff either side. And then I guess I'll want to do another little bow probably. Never tried to do a bow with rickrack, but yep, you'll be able to do that. So I'll just cut myself a bit that's slightly larger. So that will be the outside, and then we need to select a button. So let me grab out my case of glass buttons, and we can have a little little look inside. So I have to be very careful with these, but this one is actually like little, in fact, oh no, they're little flowers, but it almost looks like holly and ivy. So I think that could be really, really lovely on this one. But let's just give you a bit more of a look. I mean, there's so many beautiful ones. Look at that lovely goldy one. I was eyeing that one earlier, the greeny coloured one. So be very careful. I don't want to sort of chip any as I'm digging through. Beautiful maroony coloured one. Some of the white ones will be lovely to use. There's beautiful little pictorial ones. This is like a little girl and her dog, which I absolutely adore. Given my love of Travis, a shell-like one. Beautiful little flowers. I mean, that could be very sweet as well on something like this. But I think I do like that clear one. And Sally loves her yellow, so I might have to use a yellow at some point in this project as well. A bit of Dotty Bee Sally. Beautiful flowers. So yeah, I'm sure we'll dig back into this stash as we go through the project. I won't obviously film all of it because there's going to be 25 squares, but I thought I would share the project with you because some of you might not have seen Sally's video, and definitely do check it out because I think this is going to be such a fun project and a lovely community project, and it's really nice to support friends and support lovely creative people. So yeah, that one I'll put aside, and what we can do now is start to stitch down this base piece, and I'll show you how I approach that. So I usually pick a sort of a neutral coloured, even though there's sort of whites through to sort of more neutral, lighter off-whites. I just pick a thread that I think is going to kind of work across all of those. And I don't even mind if I see a bit of the stitching, because that's kind of what gives you the idea that this is a slow stitch project, really. And what we're really just trying to do at this stage is, in a sense, to tack down our pieces, because then we're going to be adding more stitching to it as we get the prompts. So this is really just the background. So I'm tying a notch in my thread, running it down the needle, and then I usually just pick somewhere to start, because this is going to be enclosed in the middle of the piece. It doesn't matter that I'm going to hide the knot on that side. And then I'll just do smaller stitches on the front and longer stitches on the back. So I'll show you in a moment what I mean. And let me just click focus again in case we were out of focus after the buttons. Oops. Is always the problem when you've got bits that are sticking out on your piece. The thread will always try and catch onto that. So I'm basically popping up and going down at about the same spot, obviously not right through exactly the same hole, but I'm just trying to catch each of the pieces and just anchor them down. And so it is a consideration for your fabrics, because this is sort of a layering up technique. It's good to make sure that you start with fabrics that aren't too hard to stitch through. So that's why I love the sort of the soft calico and the old sheeting. It makes a really nice soft base as you start to add things like linens and embroideries and doilies and things, which can be a little bit harder to stitch through. The linens generally not, because they're a nice weave. I think someone would have done this edging. Actually, I'm not sure. Was it done with machine or was it done by hand? It's hard to tell sometimes. Sometimes it almost looks like by hand. Oops, we've got a notch. So as you can see, I'm doing longer stitches on the back and then just little up-down stitches on the front. So that's that sort of tacking stitch, but I won't be taking these stitches out. These will just stay and be added to as we add the prompts. But yeah, I really hope I can use those animal fabrics. was thinking I could turn them into little like plushy decorations as well if I don't end up using them in this project, because I think they've sat in my Christmas box too long and I need to enjoy them. That's my whole theory with some of my beautiful laces and other bits and pieces. It's like, nope, use them or lose them. I'm really going through all of my goodies at the moment and working out, what's the supply that I need for myself? What do I need to think about as we plan out our new house and my new studio? We got the drafts of the plans through, and it has studio on it, so I was so excited. It's a lovely sizable room, but I don't want it to be stuffed to the rafters. I want it to be functional and organised, so there will be a whole process over the next few years as we go through planning approvals and the build process to really very solidly curate my own stash and to make sure what I've got is a manageable quantum of goodies. So it doesn't mean I won't still have my thrifty hauls, but I will be kind of doing a bit of de-stashing myself along the way. It's just kind of working out, what do you actually need, what quantum you don't need. I don't need meterage of fabric because I just don't do that type of like clothing making in general, where you might need more fabric. For this sort of slow stitching, as you can see, you can really get by just with your scrap basket sometimes. And I don't do sort of like full-on quilts, for example, where you might need, ouch, just step myself away, or have I got a needle in there that's trying to get me on needle a pin. That's why pins and I, even the applique pins, we just don't get on very well. We have a troubled relationship, don't we, applique pins and I, or pins, full stop. Oops, I just managed to pull that one out somehow. How are we going for time? That's okay. It's probably not the most scintillating stitching to watch, but if you're starting out, this is a great little way. It's something that Sally does so well. To just make little background pieces you can use in your stitching. And these sort of neutral coloured ones, you can use them with anything really. And if you're thinking about creating a little stitch space, as well as creating some border sort of edging, that's a good way to think about it. You can, of course, stitch over this as well. It's just going to be a little bit harder because obviously the Battenberg lace is a bit harder to stitch into. But you could do some fun things, weaving in some threads in amongst the lace itself. Just pop up to this corner, put a stitch in there. And then travel my way down here. It's raining outside. It's been such a rainy day. It's Monday here when I'm filming this. This is it's not really a long weekend. Monday is a work day, but lots of people take this Monday off. I did work today because tomorrow's a public holiday. And I think the rain is predicted to continue along. Just working out whether I'm going to pop down to the Embroiderers Guild de-stash or not tomorrow. As I say, I'm thinking about my own de-stashing, but you never know. You just sometimes find some unique pieces. I kind of have a good idea now what I already have enough of and what I would still add to my collection and my use. Like, I really love the little trims and things, the vintage trims. Glass buttons, I probably do have enough, but again, if I saw them at a good price, I'd probably still pick them up because they're just so beautiful, and you just don't get glass buttons being made really anymore. So we shall see. We'll see what the day holds. It's a bit hard with Travis. Can't really, if it's a rainy day, can't really take him out and about. Out to the boot. So yeah, if you'd like to take part in this project, be sure to pop over and check out Sally's wonderful introductory video. And you might want to do bunting, you might want to do a scroll like Sally's doing. You might want to do something different. I was thinking like a Christmas tree with little doors that pop open and show the prompts, like an actual advent calendar. So there's lots of possibilities. And it is very much a free form to sort of do as you please. I was even thinking if you didn't have enough time for all 25 days, you could do like a 12 days of Christmas sort of one. Or as Sally says, like this can be for future years as well, because I think her prompts will run all the way through to Christmas itself. I'm hoping she might, I would love to have it up for Christmas Day, so I'm hoping she might release like the last set of prompts a little bit before the last week, because I know that time gets very, very busy and pressured. But that's okay, like you can sort of build on it over years as well. I suppose it doesn't really matter if I don't have all the days up, but it'd be nice to have the days ready to open by the time that we're there. We'll see if that works time-wise. So I'm back around to where I started stitching, but I still need to stitch this piece down, and I haven't really stitched that fully down, so I guess that's a possibility as well. Let's just capture this one. And then we might have time to start the front piece as well. Because as I say, we don't have the prompts yet, so it's not like we'll be stitching anything on yet. But it's good to have a bit of time to, contemplate how you want to do the project. I think I was just so excited, and I'd already been, Sally, Christy and I have chats often on a Sunday night. We just, use the video call in Messenger to chat, and Sally had given us a foreshadowing of the project, and I was just, really, really excited about it. And she had mentioned it in her grimoire video as well, I think, and on her Facebook group, so it's not like it was top secret knowledge. But it's kind of the excitement is contagious from friends. You wanna support them and encourage their excitement too. But you know me, I love Christmas. I'm in for Christmas. You say Christmas and I'm there. Not for the commercial bit, like I'll be so happy to just open these presents, so that's my joy. I've also got a beautiful advent calendar I made with my Nana's buttons, and I get a different button out of the advent calendar each day, and that just makes my day. I'm not really interested in presents or the commercial bit, just want to get together with family and just share the season. Donate to some charities. I'd much rather do that with my money than buy people gifts that they don't need, don't want, that will end up in landfill one day. I think it would be different if I had kids. I'm sure I'd be buying presents for them, and my nephews and nieces, I'll probably give their mum some money to organise some gifts that they would actually like. Or give them some money so they can do a bit of shopping themselves now that they're of that age. There's that, but you do need to, before you, it's always worthwhile making sure you get all your pins out. Just make sure there's no other pins hiding. So as you can see, we've stitched around the outside, stitched down that element. I haven't done the stitching there yet, but we'll put that aside for a moment, and we'll then have a go at stitching our front piece, which has gone where? There it is. So, as we say, it's going to fold up like that. So that will be our top. So we want it about even, work out what we want showing up the top. And then we can put a pin in here. And we may as well fold our little edges in like I mentioned. That way, if down the track someone still wants to be able to access the doily hole, it is still there without being chopped up. Obviously you can chop your doilies up. I just like to keep some of mine intact because I just think that's a nice way to honour the original creators. Where I can, I'll do that. So that will be that bit there, and then we need to put our, oh, that's right, I'd cut my stuff already. Might just move that pin because it's a little bit not in the right spot. And this pin's also just sort of boggling up a bit. I put it up like that. Okay, so if we go about in the middle, maybe have it about there. Don't know how well the rickrack gets pinned, quite frankly. Like that, and then the other piece like this. Maybe that needs to go a smidge higher, does it? Maybe I can pin both of them at once, but try not to pin all the way through to the through to the table or through to the other side. So usually I'd probably start by stitching the white down first, actually, before I do the rickrack. That's probably a much better idea, actually, because otherwise the rickrack will be in the way. So I might grab a white thread for this. I'll just try not to cut my rickrack. Just going to have a sip of my lemon water. It's very refreshing, a bit of spruced water with just some fresh lemon juice in it. Even though it's probably the weather with it raining outside for a hot cup of tea, but it's not super cold. But definitely raining up a storm out there. So yeah, as you can see, it's much easier working on the two sections separately rather than trying to stitch front and back at the same time. And that way, if you do them all separately, you can kind of mix and match the fronts and the backs depending on what you want. But it is nice to sort of think about them together and what's complementary. I just like this one all sort of has the florally sort of themes to it. But again, they could look like little berries, which is nice for Christmas. Just click on the camera, make sure we're staying in focus. So let me know in the comments if you're going to join in, or if this has given you some ideas. Again, you don't have to do an entire advent calendar. You might just want to do a little Christmas wall hanging. So you could apply that same sort of collaging the background theme to just a single piece. You could even make a bigger single piece and then add all the prompts onto the one piece and make that a wall hanging. You could make some pockets that you could put like some lollies and things in for Advent, so some slow stitch pockets. You can make something that has little windows that open up. You could like use some felt to cut out some little doors that can be opened, and inside have the pictures. You could do all your prompts on a little heart shape and have those hanging up as a bunting. You can do the sort of triangular flag-like bunting. Possibilities are endless. You could do all the prompts on like a stocking, like a Christmas stocking, and just decorate that with all the different prompts. You could make little felt things for the prompts and then hang up each of them as a decoration for each of the days of Advent. Endless possibilities. Now as you go, just sort of fold your lacy piece over. So again, I'm doing the sort of the up down stitch on the front and then longer stitches on the back. So I think Sally said she'll start releasing, I don't know if she'll release prompts this week or next week. And I think she'll give us a number of the prompts at once for that sort of that upcoming week stitching period. But yeah, Sally's also going to, she does lovely little designs as well if you're wanting to sort of follow someone else's design for a page. She's, yeah, great at doing little stitchy doodles. And you can check our friend Christy out at So Bits Christy here on YouTube. I try and sort of include links to various other slow stitchy people in my descriptions for my videos. It's hard because you have to individually link them each time. You can't, like, for some reason YouTube won't let you recopy in the links. So sometimes I must admit when I'm going to bed sort of, yeah, late-ish and I'm just trying to, yeah, pop a video up, I don't always get to do the links, but I try and do them regularly. I forgot the other day even to post my pattern for my Christmas tree. I'd scanned it in and everything. I just forgot before I went to bed to post the pattern. I was reading a lovely comment from my lovely stitchy friend Pat, who'd already started making her Christmas tree. I think she didn't actually even mention the need for the pattern, but it just reminded me, oh, I didn't post that. And yeah, Pat's posted a Christmas tree, her version, on the Slow Stitching Friends Facebook group where we share our creations. And yeah, Pat's is absolutely wonderful. So inspiring seeing others, take an idea and create with it. Makes me so happy. And so nice for those that don't have, don't do videos to still be able to share their work. And Sally has a Facebook group as well, and that's where folks will be able to share this project. Although I'll probably still share it in, the Slow Stitching Friends as well, just so that everyone can get to know about it. I also posted about it in Annie, Arty Farty Annie's Facebook group because I know folks there would enjoy it also. So that's now stitched down. So as you can see, it doesn't take too long. You could also do some stitching across the middle, but given we're going to be doing the rickrack, it won't actually matter. So I might do the middle piece first. Actually, that might be easier. And we might only get that much done, but at least it's kind of showing you. As part of my cleaning up, I've also pulled out the big lots of thread that I have from Alex's mum. I'm going to try and use that before I use the small ones. And if I have them right at hand, which I do now on my little trolley, I think that will make it much easier to make sure I'm going to use them. I did hear someone talking about using old threads and that they can be fragile, but with all of them I pull them. I usually take off the sort of outer layer of them if they're a bit dusty or something, and give them a good pulling test as part of that. But I'm very happy to use second-hand threads rather than creating the need to produce more and have more things go to landfill. I'm really creating for my own joy. I'm not necessarily creating thinking that I'm going to be creating sort of museum pieces of the future. Now with this sort of rickrack, you can also do like a stitching across it. I'll see if we've got time. I'll just get this sort of attached down first, and then we might come in with like a greeny coloured thread, and I'll show you how you can do a sort of a cross stitching, but I thought it might be good just to get some anchoring stitches in first. Staying mostly in the middle. So yeah, I'm just doing the pop up and down stitches again, just to hold it in place. Is it about the middle? Yep, it's about the middle. There we go. And there we went. And I'll fold this one over to here. And anchor that one down. And pop back through the front and back to the back. To anchor that firmly in place. And that should be fine. So let's just tie that off. Now, have I got a green? Let's actually grab out my threads. So I've been sorting my various sort of threads that were all sort of in a bit of a mess into little colours. I think that little perle could be quite good. So I do have big skeins as well of threads and ones that I haven't opened, but these ones I just keep in little jars on the trolley next to me. So this one is what I'm thinking is we can just do some nice little crossover stitches. Let's put that back in. Like that. Keep the desk neat. Now, will this one fit through this needle hole? Nope, probably need a slightly bigger needle. There we go. Tie a knot in it. Oops. And then we will start the process off. So I'll pop through here and then we can start to do some little, if we don't get a knot on our very first attempt. There we go. So I'll pop up at these points and just do a stitch across between the two in points, as that were. But I do find it easiest to first of all stitch the rickrack down just to hold it in place. Otherwise it'll be kind of squiggling as you do these, which will make your job a bit harder than it probably needs to be. But you can also do stitches along the length, like use a white or something in the middle of it, and stitch along like with a running stitch along the wiggles. You could use white and make it look like a sort of a candy cane. So yeah, that's probably enough to show you the effect. And then yeah, we'll be using our little button, and I'll be adding, as I did on the first one, adding the lace. So I will attach this bit of the lace to the bottom or the back piece there, and then ultimately I'll be attaching this lace onto this piece once I put the two pieces together. So at this stage I'd just leave my lace like that, but ultimately this will be brought over and sat along the top there, and the button will go there, and then the piece will, when it's sitting straight, the piece will fold up and sit under that. It will have its other piece across there and its bow, and I'll have another little bell hanging off that. So I hope that's given you some ideas. Thanks so much for watching, and special thanks to Sally for hosting this fun project. I'm really going to enjoy this. Bye everyone.